Mai flexed her arms as she donned her mother's armour, amazed at the play of muscles she'd never seen on her arms before. No matter how much Jing said it was an illusion, they looked and even felt real. She itched to try lifting something heavy, like one of the big urns in the garden. It probably helped that she'd bound her breasts flat under her shirt, too. She felt manly. Even her mother's shoes had taken a more masculine appearance. They looked more like something her father would wear than the pretty silk slippers she knew and loved. Yet if she closed her eyes, she felt exactly the same. Her balance was the same as ever, and that was what mattered. She buckled on her sword belt and drew the blade from its sheath. "Be swift as the wind, plunder like fire, stand as firm as the mountains, and move like a thunderbolt," she whispered, as she did at the beginning of every dance. She moved through the sequence of morning exercises she'd performed every day for as long as she could remember, noting the places where her armour restricted her movement, few though they were. In the stable, she found her father's war-horse, saddled, packed, and ready, as Jing had promised. Staring up at the huge animal, Maya almost doubled over as doubt punched her in the belly. She shouldn't be doing this. Girls didn't ride to war. If anyone in the army found out, she was as good as dead, to her family, even if she still breathed. It was one thing to spar with her father, who surely had gone easy on his daughter, but to fight armed soldiers in battle? She would die in a heartbeat. Now Mai felt queasy too. If she rode to war, she would never return, never see her family again. Her stepmother, her sisters, her father. Mai wanted to run to the shrine where she knew she would find her father, to bid goodbye to him one last time. But she could not. If her father saw her like this, he would stop her. Even if it killed her, she had a duty to save her family from the Emperor's wrath. She found the messenger camp just outside of town, on the outskirts of what looked like an army camp in a fallow field. Some of the men she recognized from the village, but most of them were unfamiliar. There were more men in this one field than in the entire village where she'd grown up. More than enough to slaughter her father's household, if commanded to do so. All she had to do was walk in and convince the men she was one of them. Her heart sank, but Mai took a deep breath as she dredged up her courage. All war is deception, she reminded herself under her breath. She rode up to the messenger's tent, reined in her horse, and managed to dismount without falling. "My father sent me to captain his troops," she announced. The messenger laughed. "And how many wars have you served in, boy?" Mai felt her face redden. She hoped Jing's illusion hid that. "None," she admitted. "But my father has been training me for battle since I was 6.